I don't drive full time. So I try to go the entire time of driving without peeing, which could be like 5 hours. But like, I really try to push it because I don't want to pull over and like use the bathroom at some, like, no. What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Sarah Elizabeth coming to you guys with a video about Lyft and ride sharing in general. I just want to talk to you guys about my experience that I've had with Lyft, just to give you, some of the details about my pros and cons driving for Lyft, doing rideshare driving, but also from a female perspective, just because I think there are some key differences that guys may not have to think about or deal with, whatever it may be. So I'm just going to be talking about a couple, I don't know if it's a couple, but a few pros and cons that I have about Lyft / rideshare driving in general. And then, you guys can kind of make your decision if you're thinking about it. Hopefully this helps you guys decide if this is something that you actually want to do, or if you're like, oh God, thank you, Sarah, no, never mind. Not that I'm going to deter anybody from doing it, but just to kind of keep it real and talk about some of the things that you may not have thought about. So keep watching if you guys want to find out about my pros and cons, and like and subscribe to my channel so you can keep seeing content like this. So we're just going to get right into it. We'll start with the pros because yay, positivity. The first pro is that you get to make your own schedule and be your own boss. That is my favorite thing by far about driving for Lyft. Just because, well, one, right off the bat, I quit my job last year for whatever reason, and I can make another video about that. But I quit my job, and so it was really cool to be able to come into this thing that I had the freedom to make my own schedule every day. Like if actually immediately after I quit my job, I went on vacation. I hadn't had a vacation in so long. My family was going to Seattle. I wanted to go, so I left. And that was just such a cool bit of freedom that you don't really get when you have a 9-to-5 or just somebody to answer to that's not yourself. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna start driving. And just day to day, you get to make your own schedule, right? Like if there's something you want to do at 3 o'clock, drive before and drive after, or just drive after, or whatever. Like you don't have to adhere to the same schedule every single day. You can make it your own based on what you have going on that day. If what your family has going on. If you're like, my mom sometimes wants me to go pick up my siblings, and that's really helpful to her, and I feel blessed to be able to help her out in that way. If she's busy, I can help out by taking the time to do that because I can. The second pro is that you get paid instantly. A lot of times, when you get paid every 2 weeks, you have to make your money stretch, which that definitely can be a good way to teach you to budget and make your money last. But also getting paid whenever you need to can just be really convenient, especially if you have something that comes out of the blue, whether it's something happens with your car or you need to make some other purchase at that moment for whatever reason. You are able to, drive a little bit and then cash out and use that money. So that's really helpful. One of the pros of driving for Lyft or just rideshare driving in general. I believe Uber also does the same thing where you can cash out instantly. My next pro is that you are in control of your own vehicle. This pro kind of comes in relation to a lot of criticism of rideshare driving. A lot of people don't think that it's very safe. But I will say, as a driver, I feel more safe than I do as a passenger. I used to use Lyft and Uber a bunch when I didn't have a car. In comparison, I feel so much more safe as a driver because I feel like I'm in control of my own car. So if something goes wrong, God forbid somebody is acting a little crazy in the back seat, right? I can try to maneuver my car in whatever way, or stop the car, or you know what I'm saying? You just kind of have a little bit more control, as opposed to if you're in the backseat as a passenger, you're at the will and mercy of wherever this driver's trying to take you. I feel 9 times out of 10 you hear bad stories about Uber or Lyft. It's the driver took somebody to somewhere they weren't supposed to be taking them, or not their destination. So that doesn't really happen when you're the driver. So I would say in comparison to being the passenger, I feel more safe because I feel like I'm in control of my own car. Okay, my next pro is definitely a lazy one. And that's that I don't have to leave my car. Yes, I know that sounds lazy, but just it kind of came in comparison to like my brother. He started delivering for DoorDash and he was like, you should do that. Like it's safer, it's this and that and that. And I was just like, I don't want to have to get out of the car and like go, especially like around where I live in like my neighborhood. Like I grew up here. Like I'm not trying to get out of my car to go deliver somebody I went to high school with a Crunchwrap Supreme. Like no thank you. Like I get to stay in my car. I also like with Lyft, I get to see like who's about to get in my car. So God forbid if it's somebody I don't want to see, I can cancel the ride. Which I think you can do like with DoorDash too. But I just like staying in my car. I'm comfortable. It's my space. It's my music. It's my heat setting. Like, and you're just not like running back and forth, getting all hot. Like I can't even imagine like in the summer. Oh God, no. Okay, so my next not so lazy pro is that you get to network and meet a bunch of different people when you do Lyft. So like all the time people get in my car and we end up talking about, you know, what I do for a living or my business that I'm starting. And that's like a super great opportunity to network with people. I mean, for the first like few months of driving, I didn't have any business cards, and that was such a wasted opportunity because so many people were like, oh my God, like that sounds so cool. We want to come when you have your first event, like let us know. And I'm like, okay, like this would be a perfect time to give them a card. So I would definitely recommend if you were going to drive for rideshare and you do something outside of that, definitely have a business card handy. I have like a cute stack now, like in my front seat, and sometimes I'll leave them in the back seat too, in my little like between my 2 cup holders, just for, and like people take them. But yeah, like you just naturally get to talking about what you do for a living. People often ask, so it's a really good option to start marketing something that if you do something extra on the side, and even not just, you know, related to networking, you meet really cool people. Like I met this really cute couple that were just like really, really encouraging and just had like a lot of great things to say, and vice versa. Like I feel like I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but like I feel like I've been able to have like an impact on some people that I've had experiences with and conversations with while driving. So you just meet a lot of different people, which can be really rewarding, whether it's just socially or professionally. Okay. Now we're going to the cons, which is a longer list. My first con is the wear and tear that it puts on your vehicle. When I bought my car, it was not with the intention to drive for Lyft. It was to get me to and from the new job that I just got, that I have now quit. But anyways, and I love my car. Because of that, I'm a little frustrated with the fact that like when I originally bought my car, I was not expecting to have to do so many maintenance things so soon. So just a simple thing like your oil change, right? You're supposed to get your oil change every, 5,000 miles or something like that. That's gonna happen a lot sooner if you're driving every day. Even if it's not every day, you're driving more than you would have if you weren't driving for a rideshare. So like that's something to think about. Like your brakes are gonna go faster, your tires are gonna go faster. You gotta get an oil change sooner, fill your windshield wiper fluid sooner, like all these things. Another big thing is like keeping your car clean. You're gonna have to pay to get car washes a lot more, and vacuuming like the inside of your car, like that's something that people rate you on when you have passengers. So you're gonna have to keep your car clean, and that's an expense too. I mean, you could definitely do it yourself. So yeah, that's one con. The second con is the money and the taxes. I say the money because there is no guarantee of that you're gonna make a certain amount of money any day. You can definitely start to see trends or kind of come up with an average, but there's no guarantee that demand will ever be the same on any day, right? They give you estimates, but it's not always the same. So then your pay is not always going to be the same. People don't always tip. Some people do, some people don't. So your pay is going to fluctuate day to day, hour to hour. Also taxes, like you have to do your taxes yourself. So you're going to be an independent contractor when you drive for rideshare. Lyft and Uber and whatever other ones out there do not take out taxes for you. So come tax time, you're gonna owe if you didn't pay anything. I didn't. I should have. Like, if you're gonna do it, I would highly recommend putting aside your taxes, whether it's every week, every day, every month, a quarter, every 6 months. Just do it so that it's like not a huge surprise come tax season. Like, it's about to be tax season. I'm gonna have to figure out how much I need to go pay I'm hoping that from my full-time job that I had in 2019, my tax refund will cover whatever I owe, but it might not, and I might need to pay the IRS for the first time in my entire life. So that's something to think about. If that's not something that you want to deal with, maybe it's not for you. Oh, also, last thing, your gas money is a big expense of driving for Lyft, and that's not something that you typically, that's not something that's typically calculated in those like figures that you hear about how much you can make for Lyft. And like, even when I'm thinking about it in my head, I usually never take out gas money, which is like a big expense. You're gonna fill up a lot because you're driving people all over the gosh darn place. So that's something to think about too, that you have to keep a track of gas when calculating your income. My next con is the passengers. I know I said that you can meet really great and fun, exciting people, but there are also the opposite. So yeah, I've definitely had some people get in my car where I'm like, oh my God, if you do not shut up, like literally just some of the most annoying people in the entire world, whether it's they're trying to talk to me too much and I'm just not in the mood, or they're just that obnoxious. Like I had a really drunk guy. It was 2 p.m. on like a weekday, and I felt bad because I had another lady passenger in the back seat. It was a shared ride, and this belligerently drunk guy got in my car. We were taking him to the casino. He was just talking about crazy stuff, like how many people he killed when he was overseas in the war, and this and that and that. I was like, yo, if you don't shut up, like it is just super uncomfy. And then you get kind of like mean and snippy people, especially like driving in a big city, and especially like I live in the north suburbs. You can get certain type of characters. So like, I will say 9 times out of 10, it's fine. But like I said, there's that one. And even at that, like sometimes you're just not in the mood to even talk. Like they could be fine, but people think that I'm a very extroverted person. I'm not. Like I'm both. I'm very introverted and I'm very extroverted. I'm both. So there are days where like I literally don't want to speak to anybody, but because I have made this a big part of my income, like I have to go drive. And that's just been like a wear and tear on my emotions. So I just don't want to put up with it sometimes. And that's something that you have to consider if you're going to be driving, that like if you don't like talking to people, you don't have to, but sometimes people expect you to. Like I literally have a lot of people that like keep asking me questions, and you're just like, please God, make them stop. But that's a part of it. It's like customer service. Like you can't ignore that or get away from that. Another big con of mine for driving is that you really don't have control over where you go. When you first start out, you can't see where you're driving, like where this ride's going to take you, until you really have already picked up the passenger. That was really frustrating for me when I first started, just because I was very inexperienced driving around Chicago. My mom didn't want me to be like driving in certain neighborhoods, and I just really didn't have control over that. So that was frustrating, especially just as a woman. I feel like you just kind of have to be a little bit more cautious about when and where you're driving. So that's frustrating. There is a feature that you can get once you get to like a certain tier of rewards, that you can start to see what direction and how many minutes the ride's going to take before you accept it. But the only way that you can keep that feature is if you have 90% acceptance rate. So like you have accepted 90% of your rides. If you ever fall below that, you can't see it anymore. Lyft also has another feature called destination mode, which is helpful. So like if I'm on my way to like my brother's house who lives an hour away, I can filter it to like say, okay, I'm going to my brother's house. I can pick up a ride anywhere on that way. Or you can say, I need to be at this place at 6 o'clock. And if it's 2 o'clock, between 2 and 6, they'll give you rides in any direction, but just make sure that it'll get you to your destination on time. So like you can start to finesse that. So like if I don't want to go downtown Chicago and say it's like 2 o'clock, I can put destination mode and say, I want to be back at home by like 3, and it probably won't take me downtown Chicago. But you limit your rides that way, and a lot of times you're not going to get anything. So it's like there's kind of a game to play, and it's like if you really want to make money like that and you don't want to be sitting in the car just waiting for the one ride that's going to get you where you want to go or not take you where you don't want to go, you're going to greatly sacrifice your potential earnings for that day. Okay, another con is food and bathroom breaks. I mean, if you also think about people who do this full time, this is like their car is their office. They have to eat and take lunch breaks and bathroom breaks at some point. And that can just be a little frustrating when you're driving because you're not always near your home. So if I'm ended up downtown Chicago, like then I gotta go find a McDonald's to pull over to pee at or get some food at. And that can be expensive. You have to start to take that into consideration where like, okay, maybe I need to be bringing a lunch if I'm gonna be driving for long periods of time. Or I'm gonna have to, you know, pull over. I do it in the most unhealthy way though. Like I try to go, I don't drive full time. So I try to go the entire time of driving without peeing, which could be like 5 hours. But like I really try to push it because I don't want to pull over and like use the bathroom at some, like, no. If I have to, I have to. It's not that big of a deal, but like I would prefer not to. And with food, it's like that can get expensive and it can be really unhealthy to be eating out all the time. So then you have to like think about packing a lunch and like, it's just obnoxious. Another con is sitting in the car for long periods of time. So like I did say that one of the pros that I like is not having to get out the car. But if you are going to be driving for a long period of time, like you're literally sitting on your butt driving for like hours on end. It's really important for you to pull over to take breaks. Again, I'm really unhealthy about it and I don't do that, but you should. If my mom was listening right now, she would be talking to you about blood clots, which are a very real thing. So pull over. It's just inconvenient. You're sitting on your butt though for a really long period of time in this little box. Okay, my other con is that there are certain driving times and locations that are lucrative. So this kind of goes along with some of the ones that I was talking about before. Even though you can make your own schedule, it is a little bit dictated by demand because yeah, if you want to drive from 11 to 3, that would be great. But if nobody's requesting a ride from 11 to 3, then you're just sitting in your car not making any money. So like the most lucrative times are rush hour in the morning and in the evening, which are like 6 or 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. Everything in between is just kind of like iffy. So that's kind of frustrating. I usually do around 5 hours. If I want to do 5 hours, the most lucrative time would be for me to do a couple hours in the morning and then in the evening be done. Also, there are certain locations that are more lucrative than others. So like I said, I live in the suburbs. Granted, Evanston is a big city. There's like about 80,000 people here, so it's still pretty good for getting rides. But like the more north you go or the more west you go, the less rides that you're going to get. As opposed to downtown Chicago. Downtown Chicago is almost always poppin', so you're almost always gonna get a ride, especially during rush hour. But downtown Chicago is nuts and people are insane, whether it's the pedestrians or the drivers or the people on the freaking scooters or bicycles. Like nobody cares about anybody else and has no regard for human life, and it's terrifying. So I personally hate driving downtown Chicago, and if I could avoid it at all costs, I would, but I can't because I'm trying to make money and always find time. So yeah, that's why it's one of my cons, because even though I said, you know, oh, you can be your own boss, make your own schedule, there are things about driving that kind of start to shape what your day or what your like driving is gonna look like, and that's kind of frustrating. And also, like we said, safety reasons. Like one of the most lucrative times for drivers is like bar time, like 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. I, as a woman, am not, and a woman living around Chicago, like I'm not gonna go drive between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. I did it once, and surprisingly it wasn't that bad because mostly I had like a lot of women passengers, but I just don't think that like that's the best situation to put myself in all the time for money. So I could potentially make more money and, you know, not waste as much time, but like I don't know if that's the safest thing for me, especially if I'm gonna get taken to a neighborhood that I don't want to be in, but I don't have any control over that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of factors to consider, especially like as a woman. We can do whatever men can do, but we're not gonna sit here and be naive and act like we don't live in the world that we do, right? Like, it's not the same. So I'm gonna make certain decisions because I'm a woman to keep myself safe. My last con is what I just said, safety. At the end of the day, there is a whole stranger getting into your backseat. You do not know this person. You do not know what they're gonna do. You do not know what they are capable of. And I'm not saying this to scare you because I drive, but it's a very real fact, and I don't think that should be lost on you or forgotten, that you need to be aware. So yes, you need to be driving, but you also need to be listening what's going on in the back seat. If somebody's making you uncomfortable and asking you questions that you don't like, you can end the ride. You can cancel the ride. If they try to ask you to go somewhere that you want to go, like, that's done. Like, have emergency on speed dial, family on, like, actually Lyft has a feature now where your family can see where you're driving, which I love. But if somebody's making you uncomfortable in any way, like, done. Like I said, you're in control of your own car. Like, you can pull over and they can get out. You can get out. It's not happening. Like, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel safe, because that's a real concern. And I think that's more of a concern for women. Like I said, we're not going to sit here and be naive and act like we don't live in the world that we do, where violence against women is extremely high. I do feel like a lot of times I do get other women passengers, which I love, and they love and they feel more safe with me. But a lot of times it's guys too. So, like, you just gotta be aware. If you are going to drive, you just need to be aware and know that, like, things can happen. Nothing has ever happened to me, and I'm so blessed and thankful to be able to say that. And I honestly don't really hear about a lot of things happening to women drivers. Like I said, it's usually like a passenger situation. And so I think that's something to take comfort in if you are going to drive. But, like, do your research. If it is something that concerns you, you can look up the stats and see what's what. Like, I'm just talking from what I think is real and what I've heard and experienced. Never really had a safety issue, but like I said, you don't know what's gonna happen and you don't know these people. I've heard about a lady who keeps a gun in her car because that makes her feel safe. I don't like guns, and so I'm not gonna do that, but, like, that's what makes her feel safe. So hey, if that's what you need to do to make yourself feel safe, by all means. As of right now, I don't think I'm going to continue driving. I actually got into an accident about a month ago. A lady hit me because she was turning into my lane when she was supposed to be turning into her lane. It was not my fault. And it was a very, very minor collision. I have, like, a scratch in my car, but it's a scratch that wasn't on my car before and that I didn't put there. So it was a little frustrating. Ultimately, I think that just kind of solidified, like, especially driving in Chicago, like, y'all think I'm playing. These people are crazy. And they do not care, and it's just like people drive so insane, and I'm constantly anxious when I'm driving that somebody's gonna hit me or, like, just something's gonna go wrong. And because of that, like, I don't really enjoy driving. Like, it's just kind of what I had when I quit my job. I just recently got a new job and I've been working on some other stuff freelance, so I think I'm at a point where, like, I'm not gonna drive anymore. Also, something that I feel I should share that I did not know is your insurance will charge you extra for driving for Lyft or Uber. I did not know this for mine. So when I had to report the accident, they were like, oh, you were driving for Lyft? You're supposed to have this extra thing. And it was like $100 more every month than it was previously without that extra bit of coverage. I was like, skip that. I'm not driving anymore. Like, I think that's such a waste of money. For me, it's not worth it anymore to pay $100 extra just to be able to drive when my insurance is already a lot because I'm young. Like, I'm not doing that. So that's, like, been a huge deterrent in the accident. Like, I'm just over it. I think it's a great way to make extra money on the side, but, like, I would never recommend that full-time to anybody. I wouldn't, unless you have a really nice car where you could do, like, Lyft Lux or, like, Uber Premium or Black or something like that. Honestly, I think it's, like I said, I think it's great to do on the side. Like, in addition, if you have something that you're saving up for or you're trying to achieve, like, I think that's a great way to make some extra money. But it's just, there's a lot of factors to consider if you're going to be doing that full time. So that's my opinion. If, like I said, I'm not trying to deter anybody from driving, and if that's something that you want to do it. I got a link down in my description bar for you if that's what you want to do. But I'm just sharing my opinion and my experience with you guys, so you know, especially like coming from a woman's perspective, you know what's what. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you are a rideshare driver and you have something to agree or disagree with me about, let me know in the comments. I definitely want to hear like what you guys' experience is. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.